Josh Cleaver. It's nice to get together with you
Really?
from opposite sides of the Atlantic and learn a little bit about your yacht quarters program at Princess Motor Yacht Sales.
Yes.
What is your role?
So I'm the sales manager for YachtQuarters, which, like you said, sits within the Princess Motor Yacht Sales kind of group of offerings when it comes to buying or chartering or buying a share of a Princess. I've been with the company now for about 6 years, and before that was in Australia and did fairly similar shared ownership opportunities on Sydney Harbour. So this was kind of a natural progression. Um, and YachtQuarters is our kind of premier offering of sharing a yacht and getting a chance to experience probably a larger yacht than some might for that kind of price, and to have Princess hold your hand along the journey of that ownership. The concept in general was, we've got a lot of owners who are out there who, for them, it's less about the money and it's more about the time that they have to allocate to, everyone goes skiing, traveling, you've got the obligations with the kids, etc. And so there's a want for yachting, but sometimes that is hard to justify when you look at your calendar and realize how many weeks you have to spare. So hence Yacht Quarters was born about 6 7 years ago now, and we've done a number of yachts, and this is the second Y72, or the boat we're, I suppose, here to talk about today is the second Y72 to enter our fleet.
How big is the fleet, and how is Princess's yacht shared ownership scheme different than and perhaps better than other competitors?
So we bring one boat into the program every year, roughly. We were slightly derailed by COVID, as most people were. And then those boats run for between 4 and 4.5 years, and we sell the boat out of the program at the end of that time. So we've got a constant cycle of between kind of 2 or 4 boats cycling through our fleet. And then I suppose our point of difference is largely comes down to the obviously association with the builder themselves. So all of our yachts, because they're brand new, straight from the factory, and we are one of Princess's largest distributors, we're able to warrant them for the full course of the program. So it really lowers the risk of running cost kind of fluctuations for the owners. It's very much to do with our management and the team that support the structures. So we've got a dedicated yacht manager. We have, where the yachts are primarily berthed in Mallorca, I believe about 45 staff who are there for the maintenance, who are there for the servicing, who are there to, book the car from the airport, make sure the yacht's provisioned. So, as well as kind of a premier offering in terms of the yacht, it's very much the service and us that goes along with it. And I would also say the way that we structure the yachts gives owners a lot of peace of mind in terms of they're all run through a Guernsey-based company. You own shares in that company, and that in turn owns the yacht. So you've got physical ownership of the asset, whereas there are many programs out there where you're just kind of buying time.
Hmm.
And the way that it's structured gives you a lot of indemnity against the other owners. It's, although the contract might look quite complex when people first see it, once you kind of boil it down and get into it, it's very easy to understand that the rules are there to make sure everybody leaves the yacht as in the right condition, and people feel like it's their own. There's no one owner can't negatively affect the experience for anybody else, and that we have kind of got enough power as the yacht manager to ensure that there's smooth sailing, for lack of better terms. And that, I suppose, that's where we see most people come to us. We're certainly not. There are plenty of inexpensive options out there where you can dive into sharing, and I'm sure plenty of people have heard different horror stories about group WhatsApp chats and huge email threads and owners battling back and forth. And with all of with us, all of that is non-existent because of the way we've structured it. So that would be our one of our key points of difference.
Hmm. So as an owner, you don't need to really work with the other owners and rely on developing your relationship with them. All you need to do is work with the yacht manager and captain and crew when you're on board.
That's exactly
Sounds
it.
like,
In fact, in almost all of our programs, none of the owners have ever, even wanted to, or had the interest to interact with one another. You get
yeah.
your contact from the yacht manager to book your weeks at the start of the year. You get your regular kind of communications, updating them as to what's going on with the yacht, the conversations before their time on board to, pre-book the berths, to organise the provisioning. And so really all you're doing is turning up and enjoying it. And that's what most people want when you're
Yeah, that
yachting.
sounds pretty good. Plus, you're on board a brand new Princess, uh,
Yeah.
which may be different than some of the other programs. So, if I have it right, 5 weeks per year, shoulder season, winter hotel stay, cost of a 1/8 share is 550,000 pounds. Annual operating costs, basically 50,000. Uh, how do costs compare with private ownership?
So the actual cost of purchasing the vessel is like for like. If you came to buy the boat, we're completely transparent on that. So you'll see as part of it makes up the contract that we have a specification. So you'll see the price of the yacht. You'll see all the line items of the specification that we've chosen. With everything on board that we need to make sure the boat is a fantastic place to be when and is capable of cruising the Med. Be it the stabilizers, the water maker, the upgrades to the upholstery and teak, those kind of things that we know that owners would want. Um, and so, when you look at the price and how that's split, that includes the purchase of the yacht, it includes the extended warranty, it includes the tender, the shipping to Mallorca, and that cost is basically split between eight. And then what we have done to kind of bake a deal into the offering for everybody, because everyone who comes into the program pays the same, is that we have allocated £10,000 per annum per owner to the running costs. So that's why they're actually reflected at 50,000 as opposed to what we think it'll cost about 60 to run. And if you take that over the course of the 4.5 years, that £45,000 contribution is kind of our way of offering a discount that's identical to every owner.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, in terms of the weeks you get on board, you get 4 cruising weeks. So one of those is in either July or August. You get 2 weeks to pick in April, May, June, September, or October. 1 week in either March or November. And then, like you said, you've got the winter kind of hotel use. So I know there's lots of Brits that like to escape our weather and head out to Mallorca for a long weekend, play golf, go cycling, go shopping, whatever it might be. And your yacht is there in the marina for accommodation.
So do you get to choose where you're going, or does it always start in Palma?
We have a program with these boats whereby, so for example, this one, the first 18 months is going to be in Palma as the home berth, but you can take the boat anywhere you want within your time window in the Western Med. And then after that first 18 months, the boat will go to the south of France for a season. It'll then come back to Palma for one more season, and then it will go to the south of Italy for the final year of operation. So you've got different bases around the Med during the course of your time, which really gives you a chance to explore. I mean, from the south of France, you go to Corsica, Sardinia. You've got everywhere from Saint-Tropez right away to Portofino. So lots of yachting right on your doorstep. Same with the south of Italy. We'll aim to be in the kind of Naples region, and there's so much on your doorstep from there. So we wanted to create the experience of kind of larger yacht ownership in the share program, and exploring the Western Med is certainly something most people on a boat of this size would want to do.
Well, that sounds like a nice program. Um, before I forget, uh, who is, are there any limits on who is eligible to buy shares? And also, could I buy multiple shares if I wanted more weeks?
So the only restriction we have is that the owners cannot be EU tax residents. And the reason for that is our yacht operates under temporary admission. And that means that there is no VAT due on the purchase price of the vessel for the owners who are involved. Predominantly, we've always seen more British, American, South African owners coming into shared ownership with us. And so we don't feel like we're missing out on too much of a market. Um, and obviously that keeps the cost down quite significantly because there'd be about £1 million worth of VAT to pay on on this vessel. So that's the only restriction we have in terms of the barter
Okay,
entry.
yeah. And you said a 4-year commitment. What's the total projected cost for those 4 years?
So it's on this boat, it's a 4.5 year commitment because the boat finishes build in about 2 months, and then we'll start use from July of this year. So you get a kind of 2 week season this year, and then it rolls onto the normal kind of 4 years that we operate from there. We expect approximately 40% depreciation across the course of ownership. And if you take that and the running costs across the ownership and divide it by your number of cruising weeks, your total cost works out at about 23, 24,000 pounds a week on board. And the reason I think the reason we've become quite popular as an option between charter and ownership is roughly if you were to go to the market and say, I'd like to charter a Y72, the base cost before you added any of your fuel, food, and drink, things like that, would roughly be 45 to 40,000 euros a week plus the tax in whichever region you are. So we're about half the cost per week um, when compared to chartering.
Why is the Princess Y72 the boat that you're putting into this program? Is it a certain size that fits a certain number of guests? It has certain performance characteristics, or what makes it good for this shared ownership program?
For us, it's a real sweet spot. It's the first four cabin configuration in the Princess lineup where there are none of the cabins have bunks. So you can configure the two guest cabins on the port and starboard as twins or doubles. You've got a very generous VIP space. And I think particularly because many owners are off for entertaining, be it their family, be it friends, whatever it might be. But the layout is fantastic on the Y72 is you've got a private entrance to the owner's suite. So it really does give you a lot of privacy, a lot of kind of sound protection from your guests. And again, for a vessel that we wanted to cruise the Med, to me, a 72 is it's the first in the yachting class from Princess. So you've got engines that are very kind of comfortable on the long range cruising. You've got a much kind of, better space, better volume on board. It's really about being able to enjoy with a lot of guests, and that's what most of our owners wanted to do. So the Y72 is a real sweet spot in terms of its value for what it offers.
So, um, without going into a lot of detail on it, I'm curious if is there space to leave personal things on the boat? My boating only shoes, my rain gear, my water toys, or if there's a certain picture I want to hang in the master's cabin. Uh, what are what are the limitations there? There've got to be some, I would imagine.
There's some, but we try and make the experience as if it was your own. So each owner in general can store with us kind of a large suitcase worth of personal effects. And particularly in Mallorca, we have storage with the berths that we've got. So that's very easy for us to put personal effects on and off. Most owners will pool in and get additional, sea toys if they'd like. So we normally stock the boat with a Williams tender. It's a 395 on this boat. It's got towables, it's got inflatables, snorkels, SUPs. And then some of the owners have pooled in additionally and bought their own sea bobs and things like that. And then that could be put on and off. We've got some owners who've got no interest in foil boarding and others who absolutely love it. So, those who want to join together to buy a certain toy can do so. When the boat travels, we can be slightly more restricted because obviously we need to make sure we've got storage in those locations. But in general, especially in Mallorca, it's very easy for us to accommodate personal effects, personal photos, and the boat is kind of pre-stocked in terms of condiments and the kind of alcohol you'd have on board and need for various cocktails. So it's you don't need to worry too much about bringing a fresh set of everything every time you come on board. It's very much like a home from home.
Well, last question would be if I'm willing to pay extra, do I get to name the boat?
So, in terms of naming of the boat, we do that by poll. So every share gets you the option of putting a name in the hat. So if you buy more than one share, which you're more than able to do, and you double up your time throughout the year, then you can put two names into the hat. We then do a vote, and obviously you can't vote for your own name. And we go through various rounds to get to the end. The end naming of the vessel. So we
Sounds
figure
like
that's the fairest way to do it.
very well thought out, and um, I'm sure there's some interesting names. So you're looking to find all the owners by July, probably sooner.
By March, yes. So we're half sold on this vessel to date, with I would say two or three shares very close to kind of being committed. So we're really looking for the last couple of owners in this vessel who are looking to get on the water from this season and beyond.
Good. Well, good luck with the program this year. Sounds pretty appealing to me.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the time.